Hi, loves. How are you? It's Miss Shanda, and welcome to Shanda Says. You are officially entered into the pink room. Tonight's video is going to be totally personal, very transparent, and very honest with you guys. In my last video, I discussed that I wanted to do a series of videos where it's about motivation and about starting over. If you've been in a long-term relationship or marriage and you're starting over and there's things that you need to do to get yourself in a good and a better place, these videos will be for you. And even if as a woman you're just learning and growing within yourself, within your marriage or relationship, it caters to you as well. But tonight I wanted to discuss one of the things that when I went through my breakup and through my divorce and all that stuff, the separation, the things that I had to deal with that I kind of, to be honest with you, I didn't deal with during my marriage. And that thing is credit. Now, let me start at the beginning. When I met my ex, I was a single mom with my daughter and in nursing school and working two jobs. And I met this man, he swept me off my feet, and he was very well off. And I no longer needed to work, so I gave up my independence and even gave up school to be a wife, which I'm not complaining. At the time, it was my choice. I was happy and in love and, comforted in my marriage with that safety that I never felt like that it would end. So fast forward, my marriage ends, and now what do? I was a stay-at-home mom, and I was a wife that hadn't worked in a very, very long time. And certain things that I didn't think about or didn't address were right in my face. And one of those things, which is the center of this topic tonight, is credit. To be honest with you, I was a woman that whatever I wanted, my husband got it. I didn't think about my credit. It wasn't something that I ever honestly needed. Like I said, if I needed something, he would get it. If you know, he just was very old school in that sense. You're my wife, you need something, I take care of it. So even within my marriage, when it came to credit cards or it came to any of those things, that's not something that I dealt with. He was a person that took care of everything. So fast forward, lo and behold, here I am having to take the rose-colored glasses of my life off and look at where am I at today. So when I finally got up the nerve, because I was nervous about my credit score, to be honest with you, I was not brought up knowing the value of credit. A lot of things I just had to learn on my own. And there were many times that in the past I had been turned down for things. I couldn't get this, I couldn't do that. So, I was kind of scared to know what my credit score looked like. So lo and behold, I signed up with Credit Karma. And what happened was I got an email from them out of nowhere, just, oh, you could check your credit for free and it won't hurt your credit score. So I was like, okay, so let me go on Credit Karma and see where I'm at. So I go on Credit Karma and it was not good. To be honest with you, my credit was like 580 at the time. And I remember breaking down crying like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I am having to look at things and really have to decide, how am I going to address this issue? How am I going to work it out? Because I'm on my own now and I have to figure this out. What am I going to do? One thing I will tell you about Credit Karma, what I loved about them is when I went on, they explained everything about repairing your credit, how to fix and bring up, well, how to establish credit, how to fix and repair bad credit, how to deal with inquiries and not get them in doing and having certain behaviors that won't um, have an inquiry on your report. There was just so much information that I learned because at one point I was like, you know what, let me pay to get a credit counselor, which I'll talk about that later. But through Credit Karma, I was able to pull up my report without an inquiry and see exactly where I was at. And that's the thing. Sometimes, I'll be honest with you, I was one of those people that I didn't want to see anything. I don't want to deal with it. But I had to deal with this. This was something I had to deal with because, and moving forward, if you want a car, if you want a house, a mortgage, if you want to get an apartment, if who knows now, jobs are running a credit on you. Everything about you and your character, everything about you, they judge through your credit. Your credit score is more valuable than any dollar amount you have in the bank or in your wallet. Let me be very clear about that. Your credit score is the most important thing you have other than your signature, financially. And if that score is bad, it's not only going to inhibit you, but if you're in a marriage, it'll inhibit your mate. Or if you're even in a long-term relationship or you're living with someone, your credit score, if it's not good, will not only affect your life, but it'll affect your spouse's life and your significant other's life. So, in rebuilding myself, I said, I know that I need to do this and I have to take care of this because, those days are over that I can be, look to my ex to just do everything for me. I had to look this in the eye and work on it. Now I will tell you my score has went up tremendously. I'm nowhere near in the fives. So, I have to say it's all due to Credit Karma. Now I want to say this because I am not a credit counselor. I'm just telling you what I went through and what helped me. What I will do is put in a link to Credit Karma, also a link in where it explains credit, what it means, how to repair it. Also, too, the main thing to understand is that repairing your credit or establishing credit takes time. It takes time. It is not an overnight um, process. So, in learning to educate yourself about it, understand and know that everything is not going to happen overnight. And even things that you get that you pay off on your report, they may sit there for a while. So, you have to be a well educated consumer when it comes to your credit. And just going into it, know that there are just certain things that, it's going to take time, and it's part of the process. But for me, a lot of things I was able to do on my own without a credit specialist. Now, there are times that a credit specialist is necessary. And you know what? Eventually, um, years ago, I worked with a credit specialist and they were very good. And but again, it's finding a viable source to help you with your credit. But I will tell you nowadays, a lot of stuff you can do on your own. The internet has so much accessible information, and it also has um, so much information out there that you can do it yourself. If you take the time and you work diligently, you can work on getting your credit into a better place. I am in a place now where I wasn't able to get any credit cards, and now I have like four. And there are times that I have to turn down stuff because I do not want to be overextended in terms of my credit. My plan over the next 3 years is to build a house. I want to build, and I want to be to a place where I know for a fact when I go get my mortgage, I know they're just going to give it to me without question because I've worked very hard to get my credit score to a place that when I go apply for a mortgage, um, it's there, it's waiting for me to take advantage. So this is not a long drawn out video, but part of the process of me rebuilding was the financial aspect, and that was rebuilding my credit and getting to a place where I'm totally independent in that process. Again, I was a woman that was totally dependent on her husband. At the time, I had no, you know, let me just say this, the emotional side of what I'm talking about. I always grew up with a mother who expressed to me that no matter what a man was doing for me, Shanda, I want you to do this. Have your own little stash. Make sure you do all these things. And to be quite honest with you, I regret not listening to my mom's advice. So as a woman, and even as a guy, we men go through painful processes too when it comes to love and marriage and relationships and divorce It's not just a female thing, but as a woman, I will say this because many women are living at home and dependent on their husbands. And I can really, if I can express and um, leave something of value with you, it is to always be aware of where you're at personally. Aside from your marriage, aside from your relationship, if you live with someone, remember yourself and never give 100% to anyone without giving it to yourself first. And when it comes to your credit, when it comes to your bank account, when it comes to being knowledgeable about yourself, that's empowering. That's empowering. And sometimes we get caught up so much in our relationships and our marriages and stuff, and the comfort of that and the cocoon of that, we lose sight of ourselves. I was one of those women that, thankfully, even in my divorce and through my separation, my ex was very diligent in providing for me financially. So if he sees this video, I want him to know that I'm very appreciative of that. I was one of those women that I was blessed in that sense. He always honored his responsibility, and I appreciate him for that, and I appreciate him for so many other things. But as a woman and as an individual, there are things that I had to do on my own, and that was just not his responsibility. And I should have never given that up. I should have always kept a hold of that responsibility. And I've done that. And now I'm at a place where the growth and the learning is showing up. So, in having a motivational Monday, and I know it's like 2 in the morning, it's already Tuesday, but having that motivation is to empower you women to do things for yourselves, even though you may be at home in a marriage and things are comfortable, you don't have to worry about anything. Just always have your personal self in order. Because gosh forbid, even if it's not just a divorce or a breakup, it could even be the loss of a spouse. It could be a loss of a spouse that'll make you have to look at yourself and depend on yourself. And that's another topic I want to discuss too, is life insurance. How many of you are covered? How many of you have your loved ones covered if there's a problem? If there's a, God forbid, something happens. Are you prepared to um, to take on the responsibility of a funeral, or are you in the position to leave money for a loved one if something happened? All these kind of things I want to empower you to do, because like I said, growing up, of course, I'm sure my parents went through things, but when I was growing, I lost my dad when I was 13. And, the nuggets that my mom shared with me, I didn't always listen. So if Miss Shanda can impart any wisdom to you, please listen to me. And as an individual, always keep your credit good. Make sure that you have your bank accounts in order. Make sure you have your life insurance in order. And make sure you stay on top of your health. These are all little nuggets that I want to share with you with Motivational Monday. And I'll be back on Wednesday. And my hair may be different because I'm going blonde. My birthday is Friday, and I'm a Gemini, and I'm so true to my sign. I'm always changing, always growing. So next video, don't be surprised if I'm sitting here, big hair and blonde. It's just part of Shanda. But I love you. You have any questions, comments, or anything you wish for me to talk about on Shanda Says, email me, shandasays1@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram at Miss Shanda, and on Twitter at Shanda Says. And also via my website, shandasays.com, you can send me an email and it comes directly to me. Some of you have written in and given ideas about shows. I did get your email, and we're going to talk. We're going to have a good time. I love you guys. We'll talk soon. Again, go into the links to see about Credit Karma and how to repair it, and even just to start the process of, learning about your credit. I love you guys. Oh, I'm going to bed. We'll talk soon. Bye.